Visiting continental Europe is looking possible again this summer. The European Union recently announced American tourists who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 will be allowed into its 27 member countries this summer. Gabe Sagile with Travelzoo joins us to talk a little more about this. Good morning, Gabe. Thank you for spending some time with
Amanda.
us. You must be missing travel, I imagine, more than anybody else, probably.
You know what? We took our first family vacation in about a year and a half earlier this month. We headed over to Hawaii. It felt good. There's a lot of optimism, Amanda, in the travel industry. I think that signs are looking positive, certainly for domestic travel over the next couple of months. But now with Europe formally announcing that sometime this summer, I'm thinking more mid to late summer, Americans will be certainly reconsidering travel to a lot of their 27 member countries. That certainly bodes well for a lot of us here in the States.
So is your recommendation as a industry expert to go ahead and buy that plane ticket?
Well, I think that's basically where the best immediate opportunity exists, and that we are seeing some great airfare sales. I think over time, airfare will simply go up. So we are seeing some bargain opportunity on the European airfare front. I think a lot of folks are looking to perhaps lock down some of these current airfare deals now, even if it's going to be another couple of weeks or even a couple of months before we actually lock down our hotel or resort stay on the other side of the Atlantic. Although the EU has said that borders could conceivably open sometime this summer, that doesn't mean that every country within that 27 nation bloc will be ready to welcome Americans in July or August. There's a lot of sort of a non-linear reality to the reopening timelines for a lot of those countries. The UK is a different story, of course. That news might actually start to come into focus sometime toward the middle of next month, May 17th, when a lot of the restrictions throughout the UK open up. I think the safest thing is to look at European travel late this year, and I think it's spring of 2022 onward that I think we'll see a lot of that travel really blossom into reality.
So what happens if you were a family that was very optimistic and decided to plan a European trip for the first week of June of this summer, planned it 9-10 months ago, and now all I can do is continuously look at updates and searches to see, all right, am I going to be able to land in Heathrow and not have to quarantine for 7 to 10 days?
Exactly right. I mean, the good news is that there are a couple of countries that are currently actually welcoming Americans. Greece is open to Americans. Iceland, Croatia. When United Airlines offered flights to these countries early last week, within 12 hours, they sold more than 3,000 flights to those specific countries. So these countries open up to Americans, and Americans are responding pretty quickly. For folks who are looking to travel to the rest of the EU, to the UK, I think the good news is that there's still a lot of flexibility out there. Airlines will work with you. You will avoid a lot of these change fees that we've seen over the last couple of years if you end up having to kick that trip down toward later this year into next year. But a lot of that will depend on specific countries. For folks that are making connections through cities like London or Amsterdam, we've got to be cognizant of some of those requirements as well. A lot of folks, as they pass through some of these cities right now, are having to do on-site COVID tests before they head over to their final destination. So it does change country by country. I think overall the outlook is positive, but I think we're still waiting to hear specifics on the reopening dates for the EU, specifics around vaccine and COVID negative result requirements, et cetera. That's still up in the air. So the general news is good. A lot of details still have to fall into place.
And then finally, I don't know if you have the answer for this, but beyond, going to each of the different embassies and finding specific information, are there resources, are there places that travelers, Americans can go to and see, okay, can I do it, can I not? Because there's so much up in the air and there is so much coordination that needs to be done.
And you're right, Amanda. This is sort of a very fluid situation, and there is sort of this non-linear reality to it. I think a couple of things. Lean on your airline. Airlines have become really sort of the leading edge of a lot of this information. As soon as that information becomes concrete, airlines have been doing a really nice job at passing that information on to passengers. If you're holding tickets, you're probably getting texts, you're getting emails from these airlines updating you on things like requirements, reopening dates, et cetera. So I think that's sort of your first line of defense, the airlines that you're working with. And then it's really a matter of making sure you tune in to the news of the day, because as you know, Amanda, this is changing in many cases on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, I know. We just saw something here about the UK coming out with a vaccine passport for the UK with the NHS. So I don't want to get into the into the inside baseball with it because it's so confusing. So I hear you. So much changing.
Yeah, and listen, the UK, May 17th is when they'll start to reopen their hotels, restaurants, etc. That's also a day we anticipate to hear some news regarding US entry back into Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK.
Well, we will keep our fingers crossed. Thank you so much, Gabe. It's always good talking to you.
Thank you, Amanda.